around my story.
My life has taught me that each one of us has more than one face. And there are faces that are much worse than our nightmares. My name is Susan, and the story I will tell you needs to understand my reasons before judging me. When I was in school, I was one of the celebrities that all the kids wanted to be with, including Josh, one of the school bullies, who was obsessed with me and tried to get close to me in every way. But I could not, because I had always rejected him. But also, this was not my reality, which I hid because my family was very poor, and I was embarrassed to show them to my friends or to anyone. And at that time, I became in relationship with my friend Max. And Max was one of the boys that I could call the idiots of the school because he was very mean, and the rest of the students were surprised that I chose him. And despite this, all the students, even the bullies, including Josh, were afraid of Max and could never get close to him, which was strange. The days passed, and I left Max. I left the city with my family, and our financial conditions turned from bad to worse. And one day, when I was leaving the university, a young man in a very cool car stood in front of me and smiled at me without speaking before introducing himself that he is Max, the school friend. He searched a lot until he found my address. Yes, this is strange, but the splendor of his car and the surprise of the situation made me forget everything, and then we became into a relationship again. He was very rich, and his house was like palaces. I was not mainly interested in knowing the source of this money because I knew that Max's father was rich since the school days, and this is not strange. But over time, I noticed his strange behavior. I became sure of my suspicions that there was something strange when I found a large quantity of drugs in one of Max's bags. At first I hid that, but at some point, I told him what I saw and that I knew he was a drug dealer. At that time, he was very calm and told me that each one of us has something to hide, and this was my truth. I was just a girl who had been lying that she was someone else all her life. But I couldn't bear this situation, and that's why I called the police. They came to Max's house and arrested him and his men, except for a group that managed to escape. They gave me a big financial reward because Max was one of the most dangerous wanted drug men, but I lost Max forever. Of course, it was not true love, but this does not prevent that it caused me great pain. I decided to leave all this and go back to my family, but I did not find them and received a message. My family was kidnapped by Max's men, and they asked me to come to a place on the outskirts of the city if I wanted to see them again. Everything collapsed in my mind, and I felt like I was in a nightmare, and there was no solution for me other than to listen to their words and go to that place. There, Max's men came out to me with my family in handcuffs. For a moment, I was about to cry, but I held on. Immediately, the shooting started between the police and Max's men, as I told the police what happened and they were hiding in the place. At that time, a bullet hit my brother. The gangsters were arrested while I broke down. And I met Josh again, the school bully in the past, who was then one of the policemen who arrested the gangsters. The bullet that hit my brother caused his death, and I lost one of the closest people to me. But Josh never left me after that, and I got back in this ordeal. At that time, I made sure that I was stupid when I rejected him a long time ago and chose a fake face, just as I was fake too. As soon as I enter the school, everyone knows that I have arrived. The principal is asking about me, and the teachers are greeting me. I am a star. Let me introduce myself to you. I am Alita. I have super intelligence. Not only that, I have many advantages. I am not the one who says that, but my friends and relatives, and of course my family, who also draw my attention to this. I was also always the first in school because I got the highest grades, and I always excelled very much. Not only that, any difficult question the teacher asks in class, I was the alpha. Only I know how to answer it. First, the question is written on the board, All the girls in the class look at me, and then they look at each other, whispering, trying to find the answer. And I leave them for a while, and my eyes are on them. Maybe someone knows the answer, and then I raise my hands and answer. Everyone claps for me, and after the class ends, the break comes. I used to go to the yard, and the girls gather around me, and they ask me at that time. I leave my food and drink, take their notebooks, and explain to them everything they wanted. That is why I was also loved, because cleverness alone does not make someone love you. It must be accompanied by kindness and morals, and this is what disgusted me. But the more people love me, the more I get exposed to strange situations. I don't know how or why. First of all, when I went to open my bag to study that day lessons, I found that my notebook was not there. It evaporated. It disappeared. I looked for it under and above the desk. I wanted to study from it. What should I do? I called my best friend Lucy and told her to send me the lesson that she wrote. And in order to send it, I waited all day. She sent it at 12. 12 a.m.? Why? How can I study now? I went to school again on the next day without homework or notebook, even without me personally, because I did not sleep enough. The strange thing is that on that day, Lucy did not talk to me and kept avoiding me all day. So I went to talk to her after school. She stretched out in front of me and ran away. I didn't know what is wrong with her, so decided to go to her home. When I arrived, I heard her laughing loudly, so I looked at her from behind the trees in her garden. I caught a glimpse of her talking to girls, talked about me, and said that she would teach me a life lesson. She started mocking me while saying, "She is always the first and everyone loves her. I will show her." I was amazed at her words and told myself, which lesson? She is jealous of me, even though I help her and love her very much. Suddenly, she pulled out my notebook from her bag and started to cut it. I was distressed, and I kept feeling that my mind would go away from me. Why did she do this to me? She is my best friend. I kept wary of her, and then I had many enemies. One day, on my way to school, one of the girls named Tisha pulled me by my hair and knocked me to the ground until I was wounded in my face. And because of this shock, I could not speak or move and decided to go home. The second day, I complained about her, but she denied it and said that I slandered her, and I kept asking myself why all this jealousy and hatred. Every day I had a new story, and I did not know how to focus on studying or anything else. On the weekend, I went to the club and I met Linna, my classmate, a calm and beautiful girl who was playing basketball with me. After we played, we sat and talked, and I told her what was happening to me. She told me that it is normal that everyone is bullying me because I am smart and beautiful, and honestly, I was convinced for a short time, but then I had an idea. I decided to learn a combat sport to defend myself, so I learned Taekwondo, and they were afraid of bullying me. I combined excelling in my studies and being able to defend myself. Do you think these bullying friends were able to change me? And could they get me to where? My name is Emma, a medical student. My mother is a famous lawyer. I am her only daughter. I am always proud that this woman is my mother, and I try to look at her in everything. Although I am too old to drive me to the university, she still prepares my breakfast for me and takes me to the university, and then she goes to her office. Marco is my college at the university and the son of my mother's friend from a long time ago, and also neighbors. We have been friends for many years. We may have feelings, but none of us confess to the other for not to lose each other if the other did not have the same feelings. 2 days ago, I spoke to my mother about this issue. She told me that if I have feelings for Marco, I should talk because he might also be afraid of losing me. I decided that I had to tell Marco about my feelings. I invited him for juice in the university cafeteria, and I started asking him, "Why are you not been in a relationship until now?" I was surprised by his answer, as if he was waiting for my question. He told me if I decided to get engaged, I would only be with you. I told him I agree. I didn't imagine that it would be so easy after all the years that we kept silent. We agreed that each one of us would say to his mother. I went home this day very happy, but after I entered the house, I heard Mom in her office talking to someone. It was a woman's voice telling her, "You have to help me as I helped you and gave you my daughter to live with us as if she is your daughter. I will not go to prison again. Neither my age nor my health will allow me to go to prison. And just as I have been away from my life and my daughter's life all these past years, you must pay for the perfect life I made you live." What am I hearing? I don't understand. There was something wrong. Who is this woman and why is Mom silent? I opened the office door and entered. "Mom, who is this?" As soon as the woman looked at me, I felt I was looking in the mirror, but on my features, 20 years older. The same eyes and hair, but with 2 white strands. The smile is the same. Who is she? She was saying I gave you my daughter to raise her. Am I the daughter of this woman? Mom, I don't understand anything. Suddenly I found the woman who says that she is my real mother approaching me and saying I am your mother who gave birth to you, but only because of a small sin, I went to prison for a while. I had no solution but to leave you with the lawyer who was defending me at the time. She won you. I lost you. And I lost years of my life in prison because I stole so that you and I could live. I don't believe what you were saying. This is not true. This is not my story. Tell me, Mom. This was the happiest day of my life today. How does it end this way? How do you hide that from me all these years? What did you steal again and want her to defend you? I am now the daughter of whom of you? The 2 in one voice said, "You are my daughter." I now have 2 mothers, one defending the right and the other a thief. Until now, I don't understand anything. Don't know how to tell Marco my truth or continue with him without telling him. I don't know what to do. I can't forgive my mother for hiding the truth all these years.
The Curse of Money. I am Andrew, 20 years old, and I have everything you can imagine, or even what you cannot imagine in life. I reach everything I dream of or desire. Life is very easy for me because everything has its cost. My life is a great pastime, betting on anything and everything. I have many friends who are ready to do anything I ask of them. If I tell them to kill, they will kill for money. One day I was at a party and I met a girl. It was the first time to see her in the city. Her name was Florence. She was different. She attracted me. I tried to get closer to her and talk to her. She rejected me. Andrew, who no one can say no to, and there is nothing he needs and cannot reach. A girl said no to him. The next day I saw her walking with another boy named John. I felt defeated for the first time in my life. I gathered my friends and told them that I have to get to this girl in any way. Bring this boy, John, here tomorrow night. And really, John came. I was holding a very big party. We all enjoyed it. At first, it was a party like any party. And then I offered him a lot of money to leave Florence. And the truth is that this was not the first time I did that. The strange thing is that John did not agree. He provoked me very much. And the thing that provoked me most about him was his self-confidence, despite his poverty. I looked at my friends and laughed, so they understood what I wanted. They beat John severely and then threw him in front of the nearest hospital. During the days he stayed in the hospital, I tried to get closer to Florence in another, kinder way and began to attract her with my money and many gifts. She accepted all of them, but after John left the hospital, she returned to him, the time when I thought that she was mine. I felt that I was very foolish and was being laughed at by a girl I thought was different from any girl I knew. Florence knew well what she was doing, and John also refused the money because Florence could take much more, but no one could laugh at me before, and I can't leave what happened to pass normally. Among the gifts I gave to Florence was a yacht that I loved very much, and despite that, I gave it to her, hoping that she loves me. I thought that there was only one way to avenge myself. I made a plan. and agreed with two of my friends to watch her and John so that they would know all their moves, and they heard them agreeing on celebrating Florence's birthday on the yacht. At that time, I decided that the last gift I would give her would be different from all the gifts I had given her before. I asked my friends to prepare a surprise for her on the yacht, a romantic dinner with lots of lights and candles. Each one of them thought that the other was the one who prepared the surprise. And because I needed this day to be remembered, I put cameras everywhere in the yacht. Exactly an hour after they were on the yacht and in the middle of the sea, I saw the yacht sinking. I heard their screams and saw their fear. My happiness was indescribable at the time. But this happiness did not complete when the police investigations began. They saw the cameras that were already damaged, but also the malfunction they found was very clear that it was fabricated. And for the first time, I found that money is unable to protect me or buy anything. My friends admitted that I was the one who brought them after being arrested by the police. I am now accused of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Of course, I am sad about my life that will be wasted in prison, but I do not regret what I did because they deserve to die. Do you think I am wrong that I avenged myself?
Hello, my name is Benjamin and I'm 17 years old. I am sitting in a court waiting to hear my sentence, my punishment. When you listen to my story, you may pity me. My story started 3 years ago when my parents died in a train crash. My father was a businessman and my mother was just a housewife. The news of their death was a big shock to me because I couldn't imagine my life without them. I was forced to move in with my grandparents. The hardest period of my life was about to start. My relationship with them wasn't that close. They lived in a city far away from my home, so I visited them in the past, only a few days every year. When I heard my friends talking about the generosity of their grandparents, I wondered why, because mine never gave me any presents or showed me any kindness at all. My grandparents lived austere lives, so living with them was hard for me. They were stingy and cheap. Despite living in a villa, we all ate plain meals that barely supplied me adequate nourishment. In addition, we only ate 1 meal a day. I was always hungry. My room was infested with insects. The furniture was worn and torn. They paid the servant a minimal wage, so her work was minimal as well. I would always sneak into the kitchen to steal anything I could find in the fridge to eat. When I asked my grandparents why they were living so minimally, they said it was because they were saving money for the future. When they eventually figured out that I was stealing food from the refrigerator, they locked it closed at night. Do you believe that? One day, when I entered the study to speak with Grandpa, his safe was open and I glimpsed gold bars, a hefty pile of cash, and a mound of jewelry. When he saw me enter, he slammed the safe closed and gave me a cold look. At midnight, I happened to go to the bathroom, and while returning to my bedroom, I overheard Grandpa say, "Eat fast before he wakes up." I looked through a slot in the door to see them eating delicious food. Grandma said, "I don't know why you insisted on letting him move in with us." He replied, "Well, I couldn't let people see me abandon an orphaned grandson." She said, "I wish I could wake up one day and find him gone." Her words were like a knife through my heart. I decided then and there that they deserved to die. I wished that they had died instead of my parents. I waited until they went to sleep. Then I entered their room, took the key from their bedside, went to the safe, and stole all their money, gold, and jewelry, and put it in my backpack. Then I loosened a heating gas fitting in their bedroom, allowing it to leak into their room. Then I exited, closed the door, and sealed the bottom of the door with a towel. The next morning I took a bus to another town, intending to take the train to get even further away. In the meantime, the police discovered the death of my grandparents. They also discovered that there were security cameras around their villa that had recorded everything I did. As I sat there in the train station, I saw this news on a TV in the waiting area. They were showing my face from earlier news stories when my parents had died in the train crash. Everyone around me was looking at me. It seemed I was a dead ringer for the murder suspect. I was arrested, taken to court, tried, and found guilty on 2 counts of cold-blooded murder. So here I sit, waiting to hear my sentence. I am ready for any punishment. I feel no remorse. Given another chance, I would do it again.